What's going on, guys? Dylan here. We're gonna shoot a Q&A for you guys today. The whole premise of this really is just to, have a little bit of diversity in the videos that's on the channel. Mainly just to let you guys kind of get to know me a little bit more on a personal level. And rather than just, having training videos back to back to back, it can get kind of stale after a while. We get that, so we're just trying to switch things up and throw some different ideas as far as videos go towards you guys. Always open to suggestions. If you guys have any ideas for videos, content, anything you guys would like to see, drop a comment down below. That'd be much appreciated. We're always looking for new ideas, and we're just really trying to get this YouTube thing up and running, get consistent with it, and just put out some good content for you guys. So just let us know what you'd like to see down below. We appreciate it. That being said, we're going to jump into some questions that you guys had sent to me on Instagram and some DMs and stuff like that. So without further ado, the big one that I got was from a lot of people. When did I start training? I started training when I was in high school. I was about 16 years old. At that point, mainly for me, training was just to do with sports. I played hockey, so it was just kind of try and stay in shape. I wasn't necessarily like looking at bodybuilding or like trying to put on a ton of size or anything like that. But I kind of quickly, I would say, got hooked on it, we'll say, lack of a better word. Kind of quickly started to look into the avenue of, bodybuilding and proper nutrition and all that stuff over the years. That just, kept evolving and led to where we are today. So to kind of segue from that question into when did I actually start bodybuilding? I started with my coach, Dana, 3 years ago. Was when I first hired him. Together ever since. As far as competitions go, we tried to do a few preps when we first started working together, and the whole COVID nonsense. We won't really get into that, but yeah, we had a few shows canceled on us in the first couple years, and kept doing the preps, kept putting in the work, and unfortunately just kind of kept getting let down. But we were able to finally get on stage last year in November, the Flex Lewis Canadian Classic, and again in December in Toronto at the Nationals. So we did both of those shows last year, took an off season, and then set our sights on Pittsburgh, which was just last week. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster of a journey as far as the shows and competing has been concerned, but all that hopefully is now behind us, and it'll be smooth sailing from here on out. So yeah, really looking forward to what's to come, and we've got our sights set on some big goals here for the next year. Yeah, stay tuned for all that because it's gonna be really exciting. Another one that I got from a few people, how old am I? I'm 29. Not really anything to get into about that. I'm 29 years old. This was a good one. I like this one. First person you called after winning your pro cards. So after getting off stage and kind of the whole embrace with the team and with everyone that was there with us in Pittsburgh, it was pretty overwhelming. It was a lot of emotions going through my head. Couldn't really think about picking up my phone. Honestly, at that point, it was just trying to be present in the moment and just try and soak it all in. I just kind of kept the phone off until we got back to the Airbnb. FaceTimed my parents and my sister and her husband, chatted with them for a little while. We had a good chat there, and they were super, super happy with everything. And it was, nice to be able to kind of share that moment with them. Would have been nice if everyone could have been there in person, but it nonetheless was still pretty cool to be able to talk to them and see their emotions and just share that moment with them. So moving on from that, go into detail about your emotions during prep the past year, the highs and lows, and how it felt to finally get your pro card. Emotions during prep this past year, so kind of going back a little bit before prep, I don't know, many of you may or may not know, I broke my wrist back in February, so that was a bit of a bump in the road, we'll say. The plan since Toronto in December was to do Pittsburgh, so that was kind of the plan all along. And when that happened in February, we didn't really know what was gonna happen. We didn't know if it was gonna heal properly. We didn't know if I was gonna be able to actually start prep on time. We didn't know the timeline, so it was kind of stressful. Couldn't train upper body for the better part of 2 months. I mean, I was a little bit stubborn and still went to the gym and trained the left side of my body a little bit, just did what I could do. Basically just trained legs almost every other day. Yeah, because I would have went completely crazy if I couldn't do that. So that was back in February, so leading into prep. Once the cast came off, it was 6 weeks in a cast, and honestly, everything came back fairly quick, thankfully. So it healed well, strength was still there, it didn't really hinder any of my lifts, so that was great. We were able to kind of just push through and begin prep when we had planned on it. So prep this year for me was definitely different than last year. I felt a lot more in control this year, just because having gone through the prep last year and actually being able to finish, you know, and step on stage finally. So prep this year felt a lot different in a good way. It felt like everything was pretty smooth sailing. We didn't have to really, you know, push me down too hard. We were able to keep food relatively high. Cardio kind of stayed the same through the whole prep. It kept it pretty easy on the body as far as that's concerned. Now, that being said, prep is prep. So I mean, you have your days and your moments where it's the most mentally challenging, difficult thing that I know personally I've ever done. You know, there's days that you can barely get out of bed. There's days that, you know, you have absolutely zero energy. You're mentally just brain fog. You can't really think straight, function, and that's all part of it. But you just kind of have to set your sights on the bigger goal at hand and just kind of keep moving forward. And I find for me, on days like that, days that you have that are more difficult than others, it's really, the way that I get through those days is I set kind of like mini goals for myself, like by the hour or by the, you know, I need to get this done by supper time tonight or 5 o'clock. I need to do this, and this. So instead of thinking like big picture, like, oh my God, like this prep is going to be derailed, this is going to be the end of it all, like I can't do this, like, it's like, no, just get through the next hour, you know, and if you need to have a nap, go have a nap, and then have a meal, and then go do your cardio, and then have another nap if you need to. So it's like days that are really, really difficult, I kind of just had that mentality, and yeah, just looked at more of a short-sighted approach. The other part of that question was, let me just grab it here, the highs and lows and how it felt to finally get your pro card. How it felt to finally get my pro card, honestly, it still hasn't sunk in. It's been about 10 days now, still doesn't feel real. It's sitting right there. I'm looking at it as we're doing this video, and I can't believe it, honestly. It's like every time I walk in the house, it's like, how the fuck did that happen? So it's pretty surreal, honestly. And you know, coming home from Pittsburgh, friends, family, colleagues, there's a lot of people that are aware of your accomplishment and stuff like that. So you are having this conversation of like, congratulations and all that quite often. And I know for me, it's like every single time that I had that conversation, it's just like, holy shit. Yeah, like it's like almost like hitting you again almost. In the moment, I mean, on stage in the overall was probably the most fun I've ever had doing anything in my entire life. I'll be completely honest. It was the most adrenaline, riveting, like I can't even explain it, just like so exhilarating, and it's like the most fun I've ever had doing anything. And then hearing your number get called for that overall win, it was just like unbelievable. You can't even, it feels like a dream. It felt like an out-of-body experience almost. And like I look back at the footage and I've watched, you know, the overall comparisons and everything like that, and it's like, it all happened so fast and it happened in such a blur. So thankfully, you know, there is footage and there are videos and pictures out there to look back on, because yeah, it flew by very, very quickly. But it was, yeah, it was one of the most rewarding feelings I've ever felt. And it's been a goal of mine for quite some time now. And to win it in that fashion was incredible, honestly. And, you know, getting to go off stage and meet with the team, Dana was there, Emma, Rowan, and Angela, and Matt, and, you know, just a couple other people that were around right when I came off. It was pretty emotional. Dana gave me a big hug and I just broke down crying. Honestly, I just couldn't really control my emotions, and yeah, it all just kind of came pouring out at that moment. But it was pretty incredible. It was one of the most rewarding feelings, like I said, I've ever felt, and it's something that I've been working towards for a while. Yeah, to achieve that, it's one of those things you don't know if you'll ever achieve, but you kind of just keep working towards it. To get that was amazing. It was, yeah, dream come true, totally. So I guess I didn't really touch on this. How did you get into bodybuilding? So like I was saying before, I had been training for years and years and years. Going to the gym was just part of my routine, almost every day. It got to a point where I just kind of felt like I needed something more. I needed more purpose in the gym. I wanted to push myself a little bit further. To me, that was competing. I wanted to see what I could do with competing. So I've talked about this before, but like growing up playing hockey, and when you finish playing hockey, at whatever age that was, 18 or whatever, you tend to miss that competitiveness. And I hadn't had that for almost a decade. So the first time that I actually stepped on stage, all those feelings of that competitiveness that I had when I was younger came rushing back, and it was like, oh, like I missed this. This is a whole lot of fun. But even on another level, because it's just you versus everyone else. There's no team, there's no, right? So having that competitive adrenaline is kind of what got me hooked on it, to be honest. But how I got into bodybuilding, so, just being around the gym and stuff like that, and you see friends that are kind of getting into competing. This would be 3 or 4 years ago. And Sean Hearn, shout out, my boy, at the time was also getting coached by Dana. He was doing a prep for Flex. This would be 3 or 4 years ago now. I just started picking his brain about it a little bit. It's like, should I do it? What should I do? Should I hire Dana? What do you think? And long story short, I just took the plunge and sent Dana an email, never met the guy. And here we are 3 years later, best friends. We train together every day, and we're, pretty much inseparable. We see each other every day and push each other to, be better and achieve our goals. And it's, none of this would have been possible without him. And I'm super, super thankful for him and for having reached out to him. And the fact that we were able to be here right now is pretty incredible. Yeah, get to go do it all again with him in 4 weeks in Toronto. I can't fucking wait. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be really exciting. Okay, how's the mentality been since becoming a pro? Motivated, proud, humbled? This is a great question. I like this one a lot. Mentality, I'd be lying if I said it hasn't changed. Obviously, leading into this show, very focused, very determined, driven, whatever you want to call it. That being said, I think anyone who's earned their pro card can probably agree that as soon as that happens, it's almost like you open up this whole other level of motivation. You kind of set your focus on the next thing. Because I know for me, it's like I'm the type of person who's just like never satisfied, right? So obviously becoming pro was a huge goal of mine. And it's like, okay, I've achieved that now. And it's like, what's next? It's like that, I'm not satisfied with that. Like I need to onto a pro show and set my sights on bigger things. So the motivation has been incredible. Since I've been home, I've been super focused, very, very excited for what's to come. Planning on taking a good off season now and setting our sights on a debut probably in July, potentially next year. We're gonna wait to see what the schedule says, but probably around July, August, we'll see. But take a good 10 or 11 months and come back, filling out that weight cap and bigger, better, tighter, everything, and really make a splash for the debut. So I'm really, really excited about that. Kind of change gears a little bit here. Would you rather never be able to hear again or never be able to see again? When this question came through, I thought about it and I honestly don't have an answer. Pros and cons about both. Never be able to hear again. That would absolutely suck. I don't think I could really do that, especially like the first thing that came to my mind was music. Couldn't listen to music ever again. I couldn't do that. So for that reason alone, I'd probably go with the never be able to see again. But then you think about that would also be horrible. So just based off that quick little thought process there, I'll go with never being able to see again. Chew me out for that if you want. I don't know. It's probably the wrong answer. I have no fucking clue, but hey, it is what it is. I'll stick with it. Music is a big thing for me, so I'm gonna go with that. We got a couple more here. I'm gonna wrap this up shortly, but what's your current training split? So right now, Dana and we're doing the same split, and we're doing the plan that Julian had sent to him. So right now, our training split is something along the lines of, let me think about this. So today we're training shoulders and triceps, then it'll be rest, and then probably quads, back, and then maybe rest, and then chest and biceps, and then hamstrings, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I'm 95% sure that that's what we're doing. So just trying to think back of all the workouts we've done in the last few weeks, and that seems to be right. But yeah, I find that's a great split, honestly, splitting up your push days and splitting up your leg days. Leg days are so intense that you need to kind of split up your quads and your hamstrings. And then being able to just divvy up your push days as well kind of just gives you the ability to just focus on that one muscle group a little bit harder. And it's working, you know, the training sessions have been really good. We're having a lot of fun. We're pushing it really, really hard right now, and it's, yeah, it's really enjoyable. What's your favorite body part to train? I mean, I love training legs, but probably back, honestly. I think back is my favorite thing to train. I don't even really have a reason for it. It's just fun to pull heavy shit, I guess. It's kind of a simple answer, but back has always been one of my more favorable muscle groups to train. If you want to see what a back workout looks like, a proper back workout, go watch my recent video. We did a full back workout in Pittsburgh with Matt Berzicott, Julian, Dana, and Rowan. And there's a lot of really, really good form tips in there from Matt about, you know, different pulling variations. I guess a lot of form and technique on like keeping your chest on the bench and like not cheating and like, you know, putting yourself in an advantageous position. So go check that out. There's a lot of really, really good information in there you could apply to your next workout. If you like that video, you want to see more of that stuff, let us know, because we are going to do a lot more informative videos like that going forward as well. So that'll be something to look forward to. The last question I have here is, what is your favorite pair of shoes that you own? So I have a lot of shoes. My favorites tend to bounce around a little bit depending on, honestly, depending on time of year. So I find like more in the fall and winter, I'll wear more like high tops, like Jordan 1s, highs. And then in the summer, I'll wear lows. And honestly, just, I find the highs are a little bit hot to wear in the 30, 40 degree heat. So I'll pick two. So my favorite pair of highs, I have them right here, are the Mochas. I've only worn them probably like a dozen times, maybe. So yeah, this is a colorway that I always wanted when they first came out. I tried to grab them and couldn't get them. Obviously, never have any luck grabbing anything on drop, ever. Fucking bots. So I was able to get these probably about a year ago now, kind of just wear them at special occasions. I don't wear them a whole lot out and about, but yeah, that's definitely my favorite pair of highs. And as far as lows go, I just got these down in Pittsburgh. These are the Valerian Blue Dunks. Just something a little bit different. A lot of my shoes are more neutral colors, so having something that's a little more blue, and yeah, just something that stands out a little bit more. I just kind of got into Dunks recently, and I love the silhouette of them. They're just slightly different than the Jordans. A little clunkier, but I like them nonetheless. And yeah, so that's my favorite pair of low tops that I have right now. Okay, with that being said, that's pretty much the end of this video here today, guys. Thank you guys for all your questions. If you guys want to see more of this stuff, if you have more questions for me, feel free to drop them in the comments down below. Send me a message on Instagram. I'll be posting more stories like this too, like asking, you know, Q&A type questions, and we'll be doing more videos like this going forward. So I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. Like and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.